Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So welcome to this session. Last week we discussed about, I think we delve a bit into HTML. What HTML is. We talked about some um, separation of concern, dividing HTML as a building blocks and CSS as the paint or painting within when you decorate your house with some paint, and we have JavaScript as some like a software that provide interactions basically um, to those bricks or stars. And so this week we're going to be talking about discussing about CSS. And then, so CSS is what we call cascading style sheet. So, like you said, it cascading the browser to the user and to the author. The author authorized the user, which authorized the browser. So last week we discussed a bit about the separation of concern. So we said, as like I mentioned, HTML for content, CSS for styling, and JavaScript for interactions and dynamic for dynamic content basically. Yes, so looking at CSS, um, so a CSS file contains a set of rules. So the rules like consist of selectors and a decoration block. So selectors can be, imagine you whatever you want to decorate, you select it, you pull it out and apply some style, some decorations on it basically. So selectors, like imagine you just want to apply style to just all the paragraph within your content. So we can have some list of decoration selectors, and we have decorations that will apply to the list of selectors. Just as an example, um, you can apply a text align to center for all header one and header two. Basically, this is what the rule says. So you can now consist of selectors and a decoration block. So selectors in this case are the type, can have a selector it can be a type, which is paragraph, H1 to H6, can have a div, and so on. While there are different ways of selecting or decorating using selectors. So like you can use the type, you can use a class, I can use ID. Using the class is specifying the class name within the type or the tag itself. And you can apply a style to using a dot prefix. Whenever you see a dot in a style sheet, just know that this is basically referring to a class. And within the block, we can have whatever style. Maybe want to add a border, want to add some padding, want to add some background color or whatever. So to easily identify what class is, you see a prefix with a dot. The dot signifies just like a way to reference our classes within our HTML file. Also, just to know that classes are not unique, so you can have paragraph with class full and H1 with class full. So class are like can be used for multiple elements. However, IDs are identified with a pound or a hash keyword with the variable, just like a variable name or identifier, basically. So IDs are unique to the entire document. So you can only have a particular, if one paragraph there has an ID special, you cannot, no other element can have the same ID within the same sheet or entire document. So type can be combined with class or ID. So that means we can have the type, then with the just to like streamline your selections. You are intentional about what you are doing. So you just want, okay, whatever a paragraph that has a class full. This is what it means. P is a paragraph, and dot says, okay, whatever paragraph. That means if a paragraph does not have this full, it will not apply the star on that paragraph, basically. So ID takes precedence over class. That means, what does that mean? That means that when you have, if a paragraph has an ID special and also has a class full, then this style on this ID will take precedence over the full um, in within that same tag element tag as well. So that's what that is about. So if you have a question, just stop me at any time. I will be able to hopefully I'll open the chat in case someone has a question. So more on selectors. So dependent selectors. So we can have like hierarchies of selectors basically. So elements that are dependent of another element. We know what last time we did a bit about this is an element list, and within the element list there is an anchor tag. Think we did something similar in the last class, the last session. So any element nested inside a list will be.
Hassan,
Can you hear me?
are you referring to a slide deck that we can't see on the screen right now?
What are you looking at? Which one can you see?
Oh, we're seeing, yeah, I see where your mouse is. So I'm seeing it looks like a text document that says internal CSS using a style block.
Ah,
It just seems like you're referring to a slide deck, and we can't
yeah, yeah,
see that
yeah,
on the
yeah.
screen.
One
Okay, no
second. Sorry.
worries. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. One second. For sure again. Yeah, get to. What do you see now?
We can see the slide that says more selectors, so that worked. Thank
Oh,
you so
yeah.
much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for pointing me out.
No problem.
Yeah, yeah. So, I hope you were able to get at least what I was talking about. So, more selectors. So these actually like elements that are dependent on another. So we can the last session we did a bit about lists on other lists, and we have a list, and I think we added an anchor tag as well. So any element nested in an list or list item or element, then it will apply the style on those ones. So with an ID, we can have a unique ID. So like we said, ID are unique for elements. Any A element nested inside the ID element. So we can also have multiple level. Imagine you have a navigation. Inside navigation, you have on other list, and we have a list, and we have an anchor as well. Um, so on that one, so we also have, if we want to apply a style to all the sheet or all the documents, can use asterisk, like just like this. P paragraph asterisk, then it will apply to all. So we also have the child selector. Can have a div, and there's inside the div you have the paragraph. So a paragraph within the child of a div. So there are different ways um, to style your your document, basically, your HTML file. But it's very important to understand the hierarchies of how the styles are being applied. Just imagine, in case you apply you set or you apply a style and it did not reflect on the URL on your HTML. So you need to check the hierarchy because, like you said, the IDs overrides the class basically, and we're still going to talk about this in later in this in this session. Yeah. So now we're talking about decoration summary. So decoration summary, um, we have the font. Um, so we have these are font. Then we can apply a font family, font style, the variant, the weight, and the size. So these are some of the things you can apply on this text, basically. So text, these are some of the text properties. So letter or word spacing, alignment. So we have some V and H. We have decoration, indentation, and transformation. We're going to show this in some demo soon. We have a color and can set some color and background. We can also, these are box properties, margin, border, padding. So those are some of the styles you can apply to any element. So formatting of decoration. So separating lines for, like, you have a curly bracket for each decoration, basically. Yeah. So we're going to see this how it works, and I hope it's going to make sense. Yeah, just to wrap up the theory part of it, um, there's something called the box model. Imagine you have a box, and within the box you still have some smaller box, and you have a smaller box, and you have smaller box. So that is just like a box model. So box with line breaks before and after. Imagine this one paragraph, headers, um, and div. So we have something called inline and block. So when there's a line break, it's called a block level element. But inline element display in inline with no line breaks. So like emphasize text, strong text, links, and so on. So this is just like this box on the left. So the content itself is wrapped within a smaller box. So outside of the box, there's a padding. This is called a padding. This is the width, this is the height. And after the padding, we have a level called the border. This is the border of this content itself. And after the border, we have the margin. So the margin tells it just these are some of the so the outermost layer, kind of, let's say it is a margin, and we have the border, the inner, the padding, and the actual content. So like if you want to style whatever, you should know some of these bits, basically. So I think we might need to pick up from where we stop. Do you have any questions so far? Just start. Any question? No, thank you. All right. So for anyone interested to join the live coding, yeah, right. Let me just drop. Once again. Yeah, if you want to join me on this one, I share the live share. You can join with that link. I'm going to share the screen, move it to the screen. Yes, so the last time we stopped all this, I believe. Let me try to run that, bring that up. Open. Yeah, this is where we stopped out in the last session. So we're able to create a simple student profile, and with it about me, the contact details, the courses, the favorite learning sources, and yeah. So now we did we did the building block part of it, which is this HTML. So now we need to apply some styling. So we need to apply some styles within this one. So the first thing we need to do accept. Thank you for joining, Nisha. So the first thing we need to do is um so there are three, let's say there are basically three ways to apply or add CSS to a file. You can use, I think, inline styling. You can use like adding your within the header, you can add your style, and you can have an external file to reference your style. I think we'll start with the inline one. So um so the first thing we need to do is to um change the H1 color, for example, the student H1 color. So if you want to do an inline style, you can apply a style and say color, which is let's call it dark blue. So now we have this is basically a style and it's called inline styling. So what will this do? This will apply a a color to a student. Let's see if we run this. So we see that we have a dark blue color at the top. So that is just one way to apply the styles. So the next thing we need to do will be um, to does anyone want to try? Okay, maybe Nisha, do you want to try to apply um, another color? Let's say you can apply the same dark blue color to H2 element H2. Yep, thank you. Yep, yep, thank you. I think that should produce what? So also Jane Doe is also um dark blue. So just imagine we are doing all of these for all of these elements. How will it look? It will be a bit messy. And the one a better way to achieve this is to add it in the like a block, create a block style within the header itself. So we could do a style. So we can add this style to the header, and we can move just to avoid it being a bit messy. So we can move some of these into the block. So how can we reference it? Like you said, we need a selector. We know what the selector is. The selector for the first one is H1. So we can write, sorry, within our style, we can have H1, and we can say what we had. We added color. We added a color dark blue, and what else do we do? In the H2, we had also added. We can have another one. We can either combine those or we can have them separately. So you should have H2 as also as dark blue. Well, we can either, so let's take off this one. I'm gonna take off this one and let's see what that produced for us. Does it change anything? No, didn't change anything because it recognizes that we've added the star to the top, which is within the head basically. Also, we can decide to add I think we talked about font family, so we can decide to have a body with a font family. Let's check font family. Let's choose area and let's say sans serif. Yeah. Let's leave it this way. Yeah. So if you change and reload it, yeah, we see that we saw how more bold the content looks like. So that applies the font family for us. So what else can we apply? We can also apply like a background color. So let's say we have a background color and we say it's now we want to use an hexadecimal value for the color. So we can have, let's say F2, F4, F5. Yeah, I think this will be like white basically. It doesn't change anything much. So it changed the background from a bit something like an off-white color, but not really white. So that's what this will do. Also, what do we want to do? We can align, imagine we want to align these guys to the center, but it look a bit to the left. So we can align this and say, we can align it. One second, where is it? So we can add a text alignment and say center, text alignment center. Then we do the same thing for H2. Or we can even differentiate the colors and say what color could we use. 333 would be black here. But you can use 3333 also black. So let's see what that will do. Yeah. So what do we produce? So we've moved this to the basically we've aligned the text to the center. So there are other things we can do. Like for example, we can still pick an image. You can pick the image. Can say where are you? This the image IMG will be the selector. And what do we want to apply to the image? We want to um, apply like a block, I think. We want to apply 1 second, I think display to make it a block. And we talked about some of the we have the content, the padding, the border, and the margin. So we want to set the margin. Let's say we set the margin to 0 and auto. So what would this produce? So basically, the image, what we did was to find a way to center the image as well. We've moved this to the center and this to the center. So who wants to help us try something? Okay, I think you just initial on the link here. We do want to try to center this about me. Can you try?
Wait, so did you want me to try?
Yeah. Try.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was just I wanted a little bit more explanation on the display block.
Okay.
And because I was typing that I missed what you wanted to do, wanted
Oh
me to.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so just to explain more, just to elaborate more on this one. So basically, we have body. So what we call is body H1, H2, and IMG. They are called what? What are they called? So these are what?
These are selectors
Cool. So
or
these, yeah. So those are the selectors, and these font family, background color, color, text alignment, display, and margin are the properties of these selectors, basically. And why these are the values. So these are the value, the actual value of this property. So the property, to define a property, you have define the name, then use the colon, and the value. So like a key pair, key value pair, you have a key and the value, key and the value. So the key is the properties and the value is the actual value basically. So
Mhm.
so let's try to see uh, uh, okay, you were asking what the display block is. I think with
Mhm.
this we spoke a bit about it here. So like this is the block. So we have the block level. So blocks are with line breaks basically. So when what we did is to when we say display block, you make the image. Let me even try to bring it before. Let's do it before and after. Let's insert the image. So this will help us understand. So this is the image. I will roll back this change just so that it really to be clear. I will take away this and
Mhm.
refresh again. So this is the image. So image is an inline, basically. You can look at this. It doesn't have a padding, doesn't have a border, doesn't have a margin. Can you see?
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
it's an inline, basically. So for us to be able to move this image, we need to set it to be a block. More like, okay, let's put it inside a box so that you have a padding, to have a margin, and to have a border, basically. This is what this is doing here.
Hassan,
So
can I interrupt you one sec before you change it? Can you go back to this? Yeah. So what you're showing me right now, the margin border padding that we are
yeah,
seeing on the right,
yeah,
that is not there on the image right now, or it?
it is not
Oh,
there. Yeah,
oh, because it says 00.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah, yeah.
that
Exactly.
explains why
Yeah,
it's not there. Okay, got it. Makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's all zero because it is an inline. It doesn't have a border, it doesn't have a padding, it doesn't have a margin. But
Mm-hmm.
before I apply this one, I will enable this alone just to see what this will do. Display block. So if you
Yeah.
refresh this, so what is it? Well, display block. Let me see. 1 second. So it gave the image the body. Uh, Yeah, so it gave the let me have a 1 second. Want to see something. So it only has a width and the height. But
Mm-hmm.
with this one, there's the margin, the borders and paddings are set to 0. So the block, I think by default, it's always set to 0 until you apply, for example, this is a paragraph. Let's inspect this paragraph, I believe, to see what this will do. Yeah. So paragraph, we did not apply a margin to the paragraph, right? By default, our block, you can see it has a margin. It does, at least it has a margin, wraps around it. That's what paragraph is. So we didn't apply any margin or any blocks. So let's look at this one, the H1. You inspect this one. So you see that the
Hmm.
whole has a margin by default because it's a block by default. But something like a image or um, so something like an image, it does not automatically has a margin. So we need to apply the margin to it for it to at least set it to a block and apply the margin. So that's what this block is doing exactly. So when I apply this, we set the margin to be auto. That's why we have it as, at least it's apply the margin to the both sides, and that will make the image go to the center, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, so I wanted to try to see if we can move this to center these other ones. I know there are other ways to do it, so I'm still going to touch on it, but let me see how you want to do this one to center this. Or let's start with just the H3 anyway. Yeah.
H3, yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
try.
yeah. Yeah, cool.
Let me just. We want to make it center, right? Text online.
Yeah.
Is that all or
Are you sure it's going to do what you expect it to do?
uh
Are you okay? Should I just try it?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, so did it do more than what you expected to do?
Hmm.
It did more than what you expected it to do, right?
Uh yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
which
also did the contact details and
yeah, it did all the H because this is a it picks all the H3 and apply the styles on all the H3 within the document. So which is fine at least, yeah, which is fine. So I think there are other ways to do this. We could wrap all of this in a container, right? Could wrap all of this in a container, and I know what I first you know what the container is. So we could do something like a div. You apply a div here and move the end tag into the end. So what we want to do, we want to ensure all of these are handled almost add some common styles. So I will give it a class. We talked about class. So I'll give it a class called say profile. Profile. Yeah, so what would this profile do? So we need to have a style. Let's say let's give us profile instead. I'm still gonna get rid of all of these, yeah. So to reference the style profile, we mentioned I'm going to start with the dots and profile. Then we're going to add a maximum width, let's say maximum width of 60, 600 pixel, and we have the margin. Let's say margin 40. If it doesn't fit well, we adjust it. And also have what else? We also have, let's say, a background. I think we're using background color. Let's see, should we make it? I think this is a white color if I can remember. FFF. Yeah, I think FF is white. So what would this do if we refresh this page? What did it do? Let me take out these ones for a moment and just to see that. So what did this do? Let me take away this. Yeah. At least we have all the content instead of doing this one by one for each element forever. We can wrap all of them in a container and apply. If you feel that this is not looking good, you can adjust it. So most time what I do is can just inspect, do a little tweak. You can just inspect. If you feel that this doesn't look okay enough, you can inspect and pick some element. Let me just see where's the full. Where's the profile? Trying to look for the profile. Where are you? This is the block. Right. Just wanted to know that you can also try to make an adjustment from browser. If it looks good, then you can pick the style you use and just put it in your code. But I think I will have to show you that later. So basically, what did this do? It actually just grouped the styling of all the um. So we've wrapped it. Sorry, I think I did it wrong. So I was supposed to add it to the div, not the body, because I created a container div because of this. So let's see what this is doing. Yeah, almost the same thing because it's wrapped it within the body. So the next thing we need to do is to what do we need to do next is to kind of show us that we can also for best practice, because this file can actually grow very long, or this style can grow very long. For best practice, it's advisable to have a different file for style sheet. So, well, just to show you, we've demonstrated a lot of things here. I'm going to add a new file called index.css. Then I'll copy out this one. Does anybody knows how to reference an external file? External CSS file. Sorry, I don't need this. I don't need this. Just copy. Yeah. Does anybody knows how to reference an external file, CSS file into this HTML file?
We have to use a link tag, right?
Yeah. Thank you. So you have to use a link and just basically specify the type of file is style sheet, and basically you can draw this a reference to the style sheet. Okay. So if we run this again, nothing should change. Yeah, nothing should change basically. So what else can we change? So to understand text hierarchy, to also understand text hierarchy, I'm going to this is just for demonstration. I'm going to so we so the inline styling take precedence over the should I call it the so let me still leave this one. Let's leave this one. Oh, hold on. I'm taking away this. We leave the body. We leave the H2. So for the H, let's see what we have at the moment. Yeah, this is what we have at the moment, which actually makes sense. So this is what we have at the moment. Because the body has without a background of this, and it applies the style. So I don't think we still need, yeah, okay. Added this one to the center, which is fine. So, but what I wanted to demonstrate is this. We have an H3 of this color. Just to demonstrate that H2, where's H2? So we can add an inline style take precedence over an external styling. So if you can add, let's make it what color? I just pick random color. If I refresh this, it will ignore the style, the color you define within the file here. So if I refresh this, you see that it picks up the new I think that's a rank power. What do they call that again? So it picks up the inline style adds power over the whatever style you define in whatever style sheet. Even within if you have the style within the header, it will always take in the handle or use the style you have within the tag itself before considering any external styling. So that just demonstrate that. And also, even within the external style itself, imagine you have another H1, for example. Is it H1? Yeah. And we change this style and take away this and change the style on the color to say green. So what will happen? Do you want to guess? Anyone want to guess what will happen with this? So we change the color to green, and if I refresh, so we can see that the student's profile has the new color, green, because whatever in terms of the styling hierarchy, it picks always pick the last style that is applied to that element. So this is just to demonstrate what the hierarchy. So you need to be careful or be aware of this because you might find yourself saying, how come we have a blue color instead of a gray color? And start trying to debug your code and see. So you need to know the hierarchy. Maybe there's an hidden inline style somewhere, or maybe you have a duplicate styling within your style sheet, and the other one is taking precedence, basically. Yes, so I've taken out that one. And this is how our student profile looks at the moment, which looks a bit better. I think any questions so far before we move on? Sorry, maybe you. Any questions so far? No, thank you. So we've not talked about also just to demonstrate how what takes precedence between a class and a what's it called? And an ID, basically, an identifier. So I'm going to, let's say we have the div, which one can we do? Let's say, let's just give this an ID.
I have a question. Excuse me.
Please go.
Sorry for interrupting you. In our home assignment this week, there was the task download the Google the font. That is that expanded task, like more complicated. Let's say download the font from the Google Fonts.
Mm-hmm.
And how does this work actually? Because I was using the links to connect in the header with that robotic Google font. But why do they ask us to download? How does this downloading work? How should we connect the font with the VS Code, or how does that work?
Okay. Let me go to Google. In the exercise has to use Roboto, right? Front Roboto. So you can either use, there are different ways. The same way we are accessing these files locally, you can also I think you can also download this file in your local and just have reference to it. Are you able to download the file just to start with?
I decided to go with
Use
another
with
way. I
link.
was using the links,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
clicked get font and then I took 3 links, but
yeah.
then that it offered a complicated CSS style specifically for this robota, but I didn't use all of it, just partly, but I used 3 links to connect this robot and I put them into header. But as far as I understood, this link should be before the declaration of the CSS
Yes.
file.
Yeah.
That's how I did, but I didn't download anything. I
Yeah, yeah.
just used the link.
Yeah, so far that I've been working, I typically will not have not downloaded a font locally because it can be referenced from the internet. Why do you have to download it? But I need to look at the assessment. Or there's a way you can also download the font and just reference the font on your local. Um, maybe just allow me get back to you on this one. I will drop an update on the Slack channel on this one. Yeah, just I know the time is running out already, so we can able to complete at least something. I think we have 8 minutes more. So I think I want to demonstrate the precedent between what takes precedent between the class and an ID. So we have a content ID. Remember, we've already added a generic in styling for this one. So if I have, let's say, how do we reference an ID? You remember we said we're going to use an hash. And then we have a content. Let's just go with this guy. So this is dark green. And we have what color? So do we have a color somewhere? Let's say background color. I want to change the background color. So I want to see what takes precedent between the ID and the wait, I think I should just apply it on the same profile just to make it make some sense. Yeah. We have an ID yeah. ID can just ID profile. So anyway, so we can say ID profile. So what do we have if we try to refresh this one? So we observe that this ID, it is not because it's at the end of the file. I'll try to move it to the top. Let's see what the precedence between these ones. See, I move it to the top and it still maintain the ID, the colors of a green, dark green. So no matter what, they with the CSS, the ID will always take precedence over the class, basically. And so we added a background color of white at this point and added a green color here. And it always keep the background color to be dark green. So that's just to demonstrate demonstrate that basically, yeah. So I'm going to take out this one and refresh again. Yes, so basically I think because of the time, at least if you have any further question, I can be able to respond to them. Does anyone have a question? Also, before we go, we can actually try to look at a bit on the, let me apply some of the box model. So we've added, at least we added margin. We added, so we want to add a bit of, I think a border around it. That's too close to the edge and to the bottom. So look at this. We need to add some padding, so that we have it more spacious and contain the file. So what we can do, we already have a margin of 40 or so. So what do we need to add again? We need to add like a padding. So we need a padding, let's say padding, I'll leave it as 20 pixels. And what do we need to add again? We need a border. Like I said, these are the things that the box model has. We need a border of, let's say, the 2 pixel strong or solid, and we leave the color as C. I think this is, what color is this again? Like a gray here. What else can we add? Yeah, I think that is it. If we refresh this, you see that we have most likely have a nice, yeah. So we have at least a very nice border. So if you inspect this one, you see that we added the padding of 20, border of 2, and the color is white, and we already added margin of 40 and auto before now. So this is just where we're going to stop today. If you have a question, please do let me know before we wrap up. Any questions? No questions. So I think we can call it today then. Let's have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining the session today. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Hassan. Bye.
Yeah, thanks.